Hey guys, welcome to this session by Great Learning. My name is Anirudh Rao, and in this session we are going to check out data analysis of Amazon reviews. Now this is a very fun and an interesting session, guys. We're going to check out how we can analyze and understand reviews, and if you're a seller or if you're a customer, it adds so much value to know more about the product and to see if you can find out any trends about it and all of that, right? So we're going to take a look at all of that. But then guys, before we begin with this session, if you can hear me fine and if you can see my screen fine, just head to the chat box and just type in a quick yes, and we can begin with the session then. And while you guys go on to do that, in the meantime guys, I'm monitoring all of your comments and whatever you guys are putting up in the chat box using my mobile phone. So make sure that you guys are putting down your comments, right? As always, this is going to be a highly energetic session. It's going to be a highly interactive session. We have a lot of things to discuss. We're going to take a look at theory. We're going to take a look at practicals and all of that, guys. So make sure you head to the chat box and give me a confirmation so we can begin. Right, perfect. I have so many people that say yes. Hari Balwa, Embers Rising, Priya Sharma, Kashyap. Okay guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope all of you guys are having a nice day no matter where you're tuning in from. I hope all of you are keeping safe as well. But then guys, before we actually go on to begin with the agenda of what we're going to cover, I want to take 1 second of your time to guide you about this venture we have here at Great Learning called as Great Learning Academy. Now, Great Learning Academy is a place that you guys have to check out for sure. Now, why do I say this? Well, it's very simple because here you get learning material for free. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not just learning material. You can enroll into a lot of courses we have here for free. You can actually complete learning all of these courses. You can get a certificate of completion absolutely free of cost as well. How amazing is that, right? So we have 200 plus courses in multiple different domains that you guys can look at, right? For example, if you are taking a look at data science, data analytics or anything, if you just click on data science, right, you can see we have multiple courses here with varied levels of proficiency, right? We have beginner courses, we have intermediate courses, and we have some advanced courses as well. Again, all of these courses, right, the 200 plus courses we have here at Great Learning Academy, all of these are completely free. You can get a certificate of completion absolutely free of cost as well, right? So this page, this venture here, we get 700,000 plus learners who join us from 140 different countries. We have 1,000 plus hours of learning content, and of course we get 3 million plus monthly views on all of our content, ladies and gentlemen. You can always check out the upcoming live session details. For example, you're tuned into the analytics session, which is our session right now. If you just click view all live sessions, you can take a look in detail about all the live sessions that are planned for you guys. But if you're looking for these courses, again, it is a worthy mention that some of these courses are available in multiple languages as well. For example, we have Python courses which are taught in Hindi as well for all the people who keep asking us for a course in a different language, right? And guys, we have a complete job preparation section as well. Now, if you're a person who's looking to go and crack an interview, you're going to require a lot of skills. You're going to require some touch up on your aptitudes, technical interviews and all of this, right? So we have an entire job prep section here at Great Learning Academy, so make sure you check it out, right? So our learning collaborators are some of the most amazing prestigious universities across the globe. We have Stanford Business Schools, Texas MECOMs, we have Northwestern School of Professional Studies, we have IIT Madras, SRM. Guys, it's an amazing bunch of collaborators that we are working with. And of course, at the end of the day, the most important thing you're supposed to know about Great Learning Academy is that no matter where you are in your career, right, you're in school, you're in college, you're about to graduate, you're switching from a non-technical role to a technical role, or you're prepping for an interview, you're looking for a job change, and you're an experienced professional, no matter what or where you are in your career right now, right, I promise you that there is something here at Great Learning Academy that you guys can definitely make use of, right? So make sure you head to the website greatlearning.in/academy to check this out. And of course, we do have the Great Learning app through which you can access this as well. It's available both on the Android platform at the Google Play Store, and of course for all you guys who use Apple devices, it's also available for free on the App Store as well. So make sure that you guys are checking out Great Learning Academy, because this adds so much value, right? All of these courses, and of course the certificate of completion gives a guarantee that you've put in a good amount of time and effort to learn all of these concepts. You can put it up in your LinkedIn, you can put it up on your resume. So the returns that you're getting, again, for absolutely free of cost, is amazing. Right, guys, now let me quickly take a look at the comments and we can begin with the session, right? Okay, perfect. A lot of you guys have tuned in. Amazing. So let's quickly get started with the takeaways that we have, right? The agenda for this particular session. Now, ladies and gentlemen, since you're talking about data analysis, it becomes very, very important that you take an introduction to understand what data analytics is, right? Now, there's multiple types of analysis which you definitely need to know about as a person who's looking into a use case. Now, in this particular case, we are taking up, Amazon reviews and we're trying to analyze that. But before doing that, you need to have a working knowledge of what we're trying to do, why we are doing it. Is there any other way we can do the same thing and all that, right? So we're going to take a look and discuss all of these things, and we're going to be using the Python programming language to perform data analysis. Of course, we're going to have an in-depth hands-on session where we're going to be doing all of this practically as well. So we're going to take a quick introduction to Python, understand what it is, where it is used, why it is considered to be the #1 programming language, and all of that. And eventually we're going to discuss the concepts of web scraping, which is exactly what we're going to use for this aspect of data analysis, and we're going to move to the practical aspect of it. So I hope the agenda is clear for all of you all. Right, guys, now to begin with, right, data analytics. Whenever someone says data analysis or data analytics, what is the first thing that comes into your mind, right? The first thing that's probably that comes into my mind whenever someone says data analysis is me trying to find out more than what I can see with my naked eye, right? For example, think of it like a box, like a treasure, the treasure hunting boxes or whatever, right? As soon as you look at it, you'll only see the box. But if you open it, crack the lock, whatever it is, like how they do it in the movies, and if you start hunting inside it, you do find a good amount of treasure, right? Something like that. That's the first thought that comes into my head. But to actually go on to talk about what data analytics is, right? In the technical terms, in the concepts that we're going to discuss, data analytics is defined as a structured process where we go on to collect data, where we use this data to derive some insight, right? Now, when I say data, you might be thinking, okay, all of it is useful, right? Well, it is actually an incorrect thought. Sometimes it so happens that your data will consist of things which you can use and things which you will not use as well. It's called noise. Now, whenever you're looking at data, you have to make sure you're picking up the stuff that is important for you, that's required for you, and all of that, and that is called information. This is the basic difference that lies between data and information, right? So once you go on to collect all of these data, once you go on to evaluate it, see what's required, what's not required, and all of that, you will come to a point where you will know what it is that's need to be done to convert it into useful information. That's the process of data analysis, taking raw data, converting it into useful information, and eventually solving a problem using this useful information, right? Now, if you're talking about examples, if you're talking about use cases, again, guys, there's thousands and thousands of use cases out here. Think about sales data, right? Like if you want to answer a question saying why was the sales of this particular company so bad last year, or why are they seeing record breaking sales this month, all of these things, right? So I just give you one example. Think about logistic analysis. In logistic analysis, whenever you're buying something on Flipkart or Amazon, how do they know that this item is being bought by people of this particular state, right? If you are a person who's in Bengaluru and all of your products, right, or let's say the entire Amazon hub is sitting somewhere in Delhi or Chandigarh or something, which is significantly far away from Bengaluru, they do have to take a look at shipping and bringing the product and handing it over to you, right? And they promise a 1-day delivery, a 2-day delivery. This would not be possible unless they are well planned. They plan it based on this, right? They use the customer data. They're seeing which customer is buying which product in which city. Based on that, they will stock it in those locations, right? So if you're wondering about how all of these logistical analysis things work, Well, data analytics is the answer to all of that. Right. Now, whenever you're looking at data analysis, the most important concept that you have to spend some time thinking about is working on how accurate your data is. Now, as I told you, it so happens that data is sometimes inaccurate. It is not really useful to its entire extent. So it becomes very, very vital that you take a look and understand and figure out what's needed, what's not needed, and split it all up, right? The last thing about data analysis that you definitely should know about at this point in time in the introduction is to make sure that you are understanding how important data presentation is and data visualization is, right? See, it so happens sometimes that in an analytics result, after you've performed data analytics, it cannot be understood by a lot of people. It's not that it is extremely complex, it is just that whenever you're trying to explain a very technical answer to a non-technical crowd, they might not know it because they do not know how to perform data analysis, right? Your job is to make sure you convey the result. Now to do this, you can do it using beautiful looking graphs, visualizations and all of that. So that is in itself a very, very important part of data analytics as well. As you'll see from our demo, we're going to take a look at all the technical things and eventually the result, what we're supposed to get. I'm going to be plotting beautiful looking graphs, and through those graphs you guys will understand what is going on better, right? Perfect. So now there comes a question saying, okay, so who is a data analyst, right? So who is a person who calls himself or herself a data analyst? Well, a data analyst is an expert, first of all, who can do all of these things that we just discussed. Alongside all of these, he or she should be a person who has the complete capability to work with multiple teams. Sometimes you have to be working with the management team, the IT team, the data science team, the data engineering team as well, right? So all of these guys come into a collaboration if they're trying to track a metric of what's going on in the organization. So in that case, it becomes very, very important that this is a person who can work with multiple different teams to achieve a common goal, right? So this person is going to be responsible to gather all the data, to clean it, pre-process it, analyze it, and eventually provide key insights and whatever hidden trends are present in the data, right? Now, usually a data analyst, isn't a solo player, isn't a person who will always be an individual contributor. He or she may be backed by data scientists. There might be machine learning experts, deep learning engineers in many cases who sit alongside a data analyst to see if they can use the power of machine learning and deep learning as well to go on to drive an analytical result and let the machines train and give you a better result out of it as well. So there's a lot of things that's involved whenever you're talking about who a data analyst is. But to simplify it down, to give you 4 important points of what a data analyst does, this person is responsible for designing a database system, pre-processing the data, as I just mentioned, working with, of course, other developers, other analysts, data scientists, and all of that to make sure that you can use the concepts of machine learning, and of course, creating beautiful looking dashboards and visualization, as I just mentioned, right? It becomes very, very important that these people go on to have, first of all, have the knowledge to do that, and second of all, they are effective and efficient at doing all of these things. So this is a quick task overview of a data analyst, guys. Now, the next question that, for all of you guys who have tuned into this session, I am sure you're interested in data analysis, right? So you'll have a question saying, okay, so since we are looking at data analysis, we're discussing a practical case and all of that, how can I go on to work on becoming a data analyst myself? Well, if you guys are looking towards a serious career in data analysis, I can give you a lot of important things that you need to know about. The first thing, let us discuss some of the skills that's required, because see, at the end of the day, data analysis is a very, very vast domain. It's a really huge domain, in a point where, think about it like an ocean, right? If you're a human being who's trying to swim in an ocean, it becomes difficult unless you know how to navigate around or basically not drown, right? So, keeping that in mind, here are some of the very important skills that's required. First of all, the basic question, the question I get asked always is, Anirudh, do we require a programming language to get started with data analysis? The answer is an absolute yes, because see, you're using your power of your computer to give you some hidden trends and insights, right? So for you to communicate with your machine, you require a programming language. There's multiple popular offerings out there. The most popular one, of course, is Python and R programming languages for data analysis. You have SAS as well, and these days you just have multiple different programming languages that pop up every now and then, and each of these tools, libraries, whatever that are in discussion with data analysis, right? 90% of the time they do have a niche use case. They have a very small thing that these tools can do wonderfully. So that's the reason why they are considered popular, right? The second thing you're going to require is creative thinking. Now you yourself think about a problem. Do you think there is only one solution of how you can solve a problem in the entire world? The answer is no, right? If you have a problem at hand, there is a good chance you can solve it in 1 way, 2 ways, 10 ways, 100 different ways. Now, you need to have the capability, the skill to think about all of these different ways that you can use to solve these problems. This is exactly the important need of the hour. Creative thinking, knowing that you can solve something in a different way, and of course having the skill to actually solve it in a different way, right? The third thing is communication skills. Now, if you followed the previous slides, as I told you, this is a person who works with different teams. So communicating on a technical level, non-technical level, whatever it is, becomes very, very important. So having good communication skills is a very, very important requirement to become a data analyst, right? The fourth thing in discussion, data analyst, right? Literally the first name in this word, data analysis, is data. So this person needs to have the capability to work with databases first of all. That's where the data is stored. So having knowledge about SQL and NoSQL databases and all of these querying languages which goes into talking to a database, the knowledge of that is required as well. Of course, guys, if all of you guys are not proficient with any of these or all of these concepts, there is nothing to worry. We do have multiple courses on Great Learning Academy as well, so make sure you're checking out these courses. We do provide courses for a lot of different things that are being discussed here as well, right? For example, machine learning. Of course, see, there are certain things that you have to work on by yourself. For example, communication skills, creative thinking. Again, in the job interview preparation section, well, you will be given a quick insight about that as well. So these are some of the skills that's required to become a data analyst. Now let me quickly take a look at seeing if you guys have any questions. Come on, guys. I'm just checking out the comments right now. Make sure you guys are putting down any sort of questions you have. We have a lot of people tuning in. Guys, make sure you show us some love. Make sure you hit that like button, and of course, share this video with your friends and family members or anyone who you think requires this video, right? So guys, hit that like button. It would mean a lot to us that, of course, a lot of you guys absolutely love watching our videos, which we already know about. A lot of you guys keep tuning in again and again, so we welcome all of you all. Thank you so much for learning with us at Great Learning. Right now, guys, coming back, here are some of the important tools that are used by data analysts. First of all, a Jupyter notebook. Now, Jupyter notebook is basically where you write in your Python code. You can execute Python code easily, right? If you're looking at working with Python, a Jupyter notebook is something that's required. Next, Tableau. Tableau is a business intelligence tool which will help you dashboard and put out beautiful looking data visualization. And then you have Apache Spark. Apache Spark talks about the big data side of things in terms of data analysis. Your Microsoft Excel. For all of you guys who did not know, Excel is a very, very powerful tool. Probably back in school or in college or something, whenever you've had the chance to have an introduction to Microsoft Excel, know this: it is not just a spreadsheet application. It is a very powerful tool through which you can perform data analysis as well, right? And then of course you have Splunk. Splunk is used to make sure that you store your data in a structured way. You work with it, and whenever at the end of the day you require data, it is ready for you to consume the data, right? So all of these tools are very, very important for data analysts. And knowing all of these, if you guys are very serious about your career in terms of data analysis, here is your career progression in terms of the designation, right? So you will begin as an associate data analyst, and then with 1 or 2 years of experience, you will become a senior data analyst, after which you will be given a team of your own. You'll be managing a lot of people. You'll be called as a lead data analyst. And of course, once you're completely proficient, you're certified in data analysis, you've put in a good amount of time and effort into this, 5 years, 6 years down the line, you can be called as a product manager, right? That is the pinnacle of data analysis, guys. So I thought it would be nice to show you guys some of these designations too. Right. Now, talking about the most important concepts of data analysis, right? What are the types of analysis that we can go on to perform? Now, there are three types of analysis which are very, very important for you guys to note down, guys. So if you have a pen and paper handy, make sure you're taking a note of all of these, right? We have three types. We have descriptive analysis, prescriptive analysis, and of course, predictive analysis. Let us discuss these in order. To begin with, we're going to check out descriptive analytics. Now, the name itself, right? Whenever someone says describe, what are they trying to do? They're trying to give you more verbal information about what's going on, right? Exactly the same thing here in the case of descriptive analytics as well. If you want all the answers to all these questions that you see on your screen right now, you'll use descriptive analysis. Like, why did the sales decrease this month? How did the product become so popular this month? Well, last month it wasn't selling fine. What are the reasons that, this product is selling so much this month that, we are going out of stock ourselves, right? So to answer a question, what happened here? Why is this the way it is? How, right? Whenever someone asks you what, why, how, all of these questions, the answer you usually give in real life is a descriptive answer, right? You try to describe the problem and give the solution. That is exactly what descriptive analytics is. You try to understand what is going on, what happened here. So the answer to this question is obtained using descriptive analytics, right? Perfect. I hope you guys are clear with descriptive analytics. The next thing we're going to take a look at is predictive analytics. Now, descriptive spoke about how you can describe a question and get the answer in the form of a description, right? In the form of predictive analytics, think about this. Whenever you say predictive, what are you trying to do? You're trying to see what happens to the product in the future, right? So for example, whenever there is time for Christmas, New Year or winter months, usually everyone loves buying chocolates, ice creams, all these desserts, gifts, winter sweaters and all of that, right? So how will the companies know what product to stock up on? That's a very important thing to know about. The second thing is, the second question that you can find the answer to is saying, okay, so if we go on to put this amount of money in our marketing campaign, if you're trying to pay someone to market our product, what is the return that we will get, right? They're trying to predict what is the return on their investment, right? The third thing is maybe next summer, right? Now I think summer is almost here. We're feeling the heat here in Bengaluru. So the question you can ask is, so what is the product that will be trending this summer, right? Maybe cool new sunglasses, maybe a sweat free shirt or whatever it is, right? So what will happen in the future is something that you guys can find the answer to in the case of predictive analytics. So I hope that aspect of predictive analytics is clear, right? The next thing is something which is very similar to this. Here we're going to be discussing about prescriptive analytics. Predictive analytics and prescriptive analytics are similar but not the same. See, whenever you think about prescription, what is the first thing that comes into your head? Probably a doctor's, a hospital, a doctor or something, right? They're giving you a prescription. They're trying to solve a problem. They're trying to tell you what you should do to fix an error or what you should do to make sure you don't get into trouble, right? So what is the action that you have to take? That is prescriptive analytics. For example, as I told you, the Amazon thing, how will they know which city is ordering a lot of products? So to bridge this gap, they're going to be taking a look at prescriptive analytic methodologies. So let's say there's a case where customers are giving feedback about products. So using these feedback, how can you develop a product, right? So feedback is like a pill. Using this pill or a tablet, you can go on to fix things, right? That's one thing. The third thing is to make sure that they can actually provide better services, better products, and all of that by making use of these reviews and feedbacks itself. So you're trying to give a prescription out saying, hey, this is what you have to do in order to make sure things don't get worse, right? It so happens that there's a lot of supply demand gap. One popular thing that comes into my mind, because I am a gamer, is PlayStation 5. I'm not sure if you guys are checking that out. In that case as well, right, there's a lot of gap in between the supply itself and the demand, right? There's thousands and thousands of people still are across the world looking for it, and not every one of them are getting it as quickly as that, right? So even this kind of a problem can be solved by making use of prescriptive analytics as well. Right, guys, now to quickly talk about the programming aspect of things, it becomes very, very important that you guys understand that programming itself is a very important part of data analytics, right? You can do it manually as well. Without programming, is it possible to do data analysis to a beginner extent? The answer is yes, but to that extent you will not call it data analysis, because data analysis is making sure you delve deep into the data, is to make sure that you are getting powerful insights out of your data, right? At least in my opinion, that's the case. So to do data analysis, Python, as I told you, is a very, very popular offering. You have R programming language as well. However, in this session we're going to be taking a look at the Python programming language. One important thing that you guys have to know about is whenever you're learning any programming language, Python or R, make sure you're taking it step by step, make sure you're taking it slow. Work on the theoretical concepts and do the practicals side by side. Sometimes one or two concepts might feel very, very easy when you're looking at the theoretical concepts, but later when you're practically using it, right, I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. You would have learned something in theory. Practically, whenever you're trying to do it, it will be a little complex, it will be a little confusing and all of that. To avoid all of this, do it side by side. Take the practical approach. Of course, whenever we do all these sessions here at Great Learning, wherever possible, we give you the practical approach to make sure you have this entire scope whenever you guys are learning, right? That's the entire point, to make sure that you guys have access to the best learning, best highest quality learning materials available for you to learn. Perfect. Now, since we're talking about Python programming, I know that all of you guys would probably already know this. It's the world's #1 programming language. It is very popular. If you talk to a programmer around you, right, there's a good chance that he or she might have learned Python, knows Python and all that. But why is the case? Why is it the world's most popular programming language? Well, there are thousands of reasons for this, and we can go on to discuss an hour worth of content on telling you why Python is popular, right? But to keep it short and concise, first of all, Python is a beautifully easy language to use. It's very simple, it can do a lot of things, and it is very powerful at the same time. There was a time in programming, C++ back in the day, where you had to write a lot of code to do a tiny thing. Your input would be this huge, your output would be a very tiny thing. In that case, in Python, it's reverse. You only have to write in a very small, concise amount of code to get a very beautiful solution, right? That's why it is popular. It provides a lot of high-level programming features, in a sense where it uses English language to go on for you to type in a lot of code. So even a person who might not know programming, right, if you take a look at C++, for example, there is syntax such as C in, C out and all of that. Now, if I did not know C++, if I look at C in, C out, I won't be able to make sense out of it. But if I say print, if I say output, if I say input, all of those make sense even though I might not know the programming language, right? That's Python. And of course, it's object-oriented programming language. It has a huge community, a huge application base. It's very, very important in the cases of data science, data analysis, artificial intelligence. Even in the case of healthcare, Python has so many different applications. It's a beautiful world. I'm sure you guys appreciate Python as much as I do as well, right? Coming to this concept of where Python is used, again, we can talk about thousands of applications, but to give you a simple application, right? You're using a product of Python right now whenever you're watching videos on YouTube, or whenever you were recommended this video, right? Again, guys, to make sure you guys get recommendations, and as soon as we put out a video, for you to be notified, you have to subscribe to the Great Learning YouTube channel. You have to hit that bell icon. Whenever you do, as soon as we put out a video, you will be the first person to know about it, right? Perfect. So since you're watching this video on YouTube right now, well, you're using Python, you're using an application of Python. Whenever you want to go to your friend's house, a restaurant, a pub, or wherever it is, whenever you book a cab, whenever you book a flight, whenever you're booking a vacation, the application, you're literally using Python everywhere around you guys. Whenever you open an internet browser, right, Mozilla Firefox has 200,000 lines of code which is written in Python, as in Python is used to code Firefox itself, right? In that case, whenever you're listening to songs as well. Think about Spotify, think about Amazon Music and all of these places. It recommends songs automatically for you. How is it doing that? Again, a part of Python is being used there as well, right? And the same goes for video streaming services as well. Amazon Prime, Netflix. Netflix is has this amazingly powerful, very very beautiful, recommendation system. It is so accurate that everyone who wants to watch on Netflix usually stick to Netflix, and there's a reason for that, right? They're making you watch videos because they're catering, giving you a customized solution. Again, a lot of data science and data analytics is used there, guys. So to quickly talk about the popularity of the Python programming language, right? See, the code is very much readable. It is maintainable, as in a sense where, as I told you, it's very simple to understand. And whenever you're making any sort of changes as well, it's easy to do that. There's a lot of programming paradigms out there. You want to work with object-oriented programming, perfect. You want to use other types of programming, again, a lot of paradigms are supported too. It has hundreds, if not thousands of libraries, right? So we have a common saying, as Python developers, whenever you have a problem, there's a good chance Python has a library or something to help you solve it quicker. That's the reason, again, why Python is popular, right? All of these things, all of these are open source. They're free to use. All these frameworks, tools, libraries, and all of these different things. And whenever you're writing a program, it always comes to a state where you will have to sometimes debug the program. Sometimes you have to test it and all of these, right? It's not like you write a program and this program is working fantastically. You fix one line of error, which will give you 100 more lines of errors to fix, right? So in this case, what happens is that with Python, this makes it very easy because it was built to make sure you can debug and test it easily. So test-driven development is something which is very very popular in the case of Python as well, right? To talk about the companies that use Python: Google, Facebook, Instagram, Netflix, Quora, Spotify, and thousands of other companies use Python in one way or another, right? Again, we can discuss all of these. Again, I am sure you guys know to a certain extent about all of these companies, all of these things about Python, right? To get started with Python, however, you're going to require some key skills, guys. First of all, you are going to require this kind of a data-oriented approach where you have a passion, where you have a liking, where you have an understanding towards data, right? Now, I've met a lot of enthusiasts who look at data and they're excited, they're happy, they know that they can find something interesting in that data, right? So you need to have this kind of an approach to know that your data consists of something beautiful if you search into it, right? The second thing is out of the box thinking. Ladies and gentlemen, this is something that is required, right? So whenever you're taking a look at Python, whenever you're taking a look at programming, knowing that you can solve a problem in multiple ways is very much required. The third thing is basic logic building skills, guys. Whenever someone says build the logic of a very complex problem, usually once you look at the solution, you'll be like, oh, okay, so this wasn't very complex. But when you're actually doing it, it might feel a little difficult, right? That is the case. So to go from that level of difficulty to making sure that you know how to solve it easier, that is logic building skills. You require that as well. And the last important skill that you're going to require is this thing where you need to scale up quickly. What happens is it's not difficulty, but the level of application, the level of proficiency that you have in Python you might be able to solve beginner and intermediate use cases, and suddenly you have an advanced use case that you have to solve and probably give the solution to solve the problem. In that case, you need to have the skill so you can learn new things, understand new libraries, and work on it. That is a very very important skill here, guys, right? Perfect. Now we're going to take a look at web scraping. Web scraping is the most important concept, because if you're trying to use Amazon reviews, we have to scrape the data, we have to pull the data from there for us to analyze, right? So we're going to be discussing web scraping now. So do you guys know what web scraping is? If you do, head to the comments and let me know. And again, guys, I'm monitoring all of your comments here. So Embers Rising has a question, sir. As a data analyst, we need to focus on Python. Please tell some important things to learn in Python because I'm not from a technical background. I do not know how to proceed. Well, Embers, it's a very good question. As I just mentioned, we already discussed some of the most important things, all the skills that you require, right? Data analysis, as you can see, will require a little bit of mathematics, programming, and even concepts of statistics as well. And if your solution calls for it, you're going to require knowledge about machine learning too. I hope that answers your question. Okay, perfect. Now to talk about web scraping, right? See, web scraping is one of these very important concepts where we try to get the information that is already present in the website, right? So whenever you go on to any sort of website, there's a lot of details that is publicly available, right? So whenever you have a requirement for this data, whenever you want to use it, whenever you want to export it, to do all of these, the concept, the term that we have given to this is web scraping. Web scraping is you going on to a website, pulling all those data and making sense of it, using it for analysis or whatnot, right? You can do it automatically these days. You can do it manually. There's multiple different ways of doing it, but of course, no one really goes on to manually scrape data. It's a challenging task, especially if the website is dynamic and something keeps changing values, or any sort of data. It becomes really painful to do it manually. So automated tools are preferred today. In the case of Python, there's again beautiful tools as well. So you know what it is now, right? We're trying to pull data that are present on websites. The next question you're going to have is, okay, so why should we even do this? First of all, it's a very, very important part of data analysis that you use web scraping, right? For example, maybe you have to send a lot of mails to a lot of people. You need to pick up these email IDs. There's thousands of email IDs on a website that you have to use to make sure that you send out mails. For all of that, you can scrape the data. Whenever there are any sort of job listings that you want to apply for, or you want data or more details about it, you can scrape that data as well. If you're trying to compare prices between Amazon, Flipkart, and you're doing it for thousands of products at a time, you can scrape all these data from Amazon, all of these data from Flipkart, compare it to see who's providing things at the cheapest price as well. And of course, it has a lot of applications in the case of R&D, or in the case of research and development as well, guys. So it's a very important thing. There's again hundreds of applications in the case of web scraping, right? So with this, the next question says, okay, you're trying to pull all the information out that are present in websites. Is this even legal? Is this right to do? Is it correct? Is it legal? The answer is yes, it is legal. Web scraping is actually legal. You are allowed, you can scrape whatever is present, which is already publicly available, right? You're not trying to hack into anything and pick up proprietary data. Whatever Amazon shows on its website, right? They're not showing payment information. They're not showing your credit card information to the world and all of that. They're showing you a product. They're showing you the reviews. It is publicly available. So we use that to make sure that we can drive analysis out of it. We're not doing anything illegal here, right? But one thing that people take for granted is that they know it is legal, and if you continuously keep doing it, if you send multiple requests to keep pulling the data, well, what will Amazon do is they think that you're a bot, they think that you're trying to overwhelm their server or to do some harm to them, and they will ban your IP address. So in that case, right, so whenever you're performing web scraping as well, it's vital that you know that there is a limit, there is an extent to do it, because if you keep overwhelming their servers, if you keep trying to pull data, if you keep sending requests there, you're trying to bombard their servers with your requests. In that case, again, you guys have to know that you can get your IP addresses banned. And you might not have access to Amazon. It's not just Amazon, any other site where you're trying to scrape as well, guys. So it's a very important thing. Perfect. So what are some of the Python libraries that we use for web scraping? Well, again, there's a lot of libraries, but here are the popular ones. You have the requests library, you have BS4, which is Beautiful Soup 4, you have LXML, you have Scrappy, you have multiple different Python libraries. Now a question that you guys will ask is saying, hey, do I have to know all the details about requests, BS4, LXML and Scrappy all together to go on to perform this analysis for Amazon reviews? The answer is no. We're going to be taking a look at requests and mostly beautiful soup, and you're going to see all of these practically in a moment from now, right? So it becomes very vital that we discuss what's important here and what's required for a use case, right? So in our case, we're going to be taking a look at beautiful soup. Beautiful soup is an amazing library. Again, it's open source, it's free to use. It is a parsing library. So when we say a parsing library, we talk about a concept of a parser. A parser is this entity which understands how to pull data from multiple different sources, right? Now, the working of a website can be, because it has HTML structure, it has XML data or any other markup languages which are working there. So Beautiful Soup knows that, hey, this is HTML data, so I have to pull this in a certain way. I have to request for the data in a certain way, get it and store it in a certain way, right? So Beautiful Soup does this very well. But it so happens in some cases that you cannot directly download all of these data. So there, what you try to do is you make sure you use Beautiful Soup, where you can fetch that particular data, you can remove all these HTML tags manually, and eventually you can just have whatever content is required rather than all of these among use this information, right? So you can manually do it, and of course to a certain extent automatically do it as well. So that's the important thing that you have to know about Beautiful Soup. So guys, now let us actually go on to do all of these things practically. We have an amazing demo here for you guys. So let me quickly go on to open up Google Collab. Google Collab is basically a Jupyter notebook which is hosted on the Google Cloud platform. The advantage here is that whenever I'm on my mobile, whenever I'm traveling, whatever it is, I can just log into my Google account and start writing Python code and execute it as well. So I really don't have to install Python, do anything which is of course complicated, right? It's a very simple process that we are going to use. Right guys, so let me zoom in a little. I hope my screen is visible for all of you all. I can zoom in a little more. Perfect. So what is the first step whenever we go on to do any sort of analysis or any sort of data science applications or solving a program, right? The first thing is we import all the libraries, right? So as I told you, in this particular case for web scraping, we're going to require the requests library and of course Beautiful Soup. So clicking the play button will just import the libraries and we are done with that. The next thing that we're going to take a look at is of course the product that we're trying to scrape, right? We're trying to understand the reviews, we're trying to take a look at what's going on. In this particular case, this is a nice watch. It's called as Nautica Analog. I mean, I am a fan of watches, so this is a beautiful example. We have a lot of reviews here for this particular watch, right? If you click see all details, you can find there's 11 people who are talking a lot about it. It's a pretty expensive watch as well. I think it's somewhere around 10 grand. Yes, perfect, right? So we're trying to analyze what's going on with the review of these. What are people saying about it and all of that, right? It's not just this. We can take a look at anything. For example, Nike women's running shoes, whatever is the requirement. Any product on Amazon, it works, right? This is just a sample that we are trying to pick up, right? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this link that we have for our product, the customer reviews page, and we're going to assign it to a variable called URL2. You're going to find out why we have to do this, right? The next thing is you're going to require something called as a header. See, the header is basically trying to tell Amazon that, hey, this is me, this is my identity, I want to pick up this data from you. That's what is meant by user agent. User agent is basically your connection to the website you're trying to scrape from and showcasing yourself, saying, hey, this is me, this is what I bring with me and the data I'm pulling out, right? Now, there's something that says here, Mozilla, Firefox, Windows NT, Apple Web Toolkit, a lot of different things, right? Chrome, Safari and all of that. If you're wondering how you can find all of this to insert it here, it's very simple. Go to Google, just type, just go to Google and just type my user agent, guys. My user agent. As soon as you type it, well, look, this is your user agent. Just copy this and paste it out here in a variable called header, and well, it's as simple as that, right? So now, a question you will have is why is a URL and why is a header required? Whenever you're requesting information, from the Amazon's website or any website, for example, you're gonna have to send a request, right? You're gonna say, hey, you're gonna send an HTTP function called as get and say, hey, get the details from this particular website. To do that, you have to pass two parameters. One is to tell which URL it has to go to, and the second thing is its identification in the terms of header, right? That is what we're trying to do here. We're trying to send a get request where we're trying to obtain all of the data by giving it the URL and our header. header. Simple, right? All of these are one line of code. Now we have stored it in a variable called as page. So if you just check out what's happening with page, you see that we have a valid response here. It means your URL is correct, your header is correct. Amazon is sending you some information. Amazon is responding to your get request, right? Perfect. Now the next thing that we have to take a look at is to make sure how we can use Beautiful Soup to actually pull the data and to find out details that is present on our watch review page, right? This page. So to go on to do this, we use Beautiful Soup. We try to pull all the content and we're telling it, hey, what you are seeing is a website, is a web page that is written in HTML. So use the HTML parser to bring me all the page content that are present there. Whatever it is that you want to see. Do you want to see the title? Do you want to see the name? You're going to see a lot of details, right? That's exactly. Let me zoom out a little. That is exactly what you're trying to print in the next stages as well. You're trying to print. Now, I am not printing anything directly from Amazon here, right? Beautiful Soup fetched all the details for us and it is holding it. Now, as soon as I go on to print all of these details, you can see it says, hey, the title of that particular page is Amazon.in customer reviews Nautica's silver dial men's watch. It is giving us all the details. It is giving us meta information, all of these details that Beautiful Soup scrapped from this particular watch example, right? That is how easy it is. Now if I had to do it manually, I had to find out what is the name of this website, pull all the details of it manually. I don't have to do that. I just have to give the URL, give my header. Beautiful Soup takes care of all of these different things, right? Now since we're seeing 11 reviews, if I'm right, for this particular watch, right? Let me go up. 11 reviews. Perfect. Now in this particular case, what happens is that sometimes you might want to take a look at one single review. You might want to understand who is the person who's providing this review, right? That is exactly what we're trying to do here. As soon as I run this simple 2-line piece of code, it's giving me an output saying butter. Butter is basically the name of a user who has reviewed this particular watch. Literally as simple as that, right? Take a look at this. If I keep scrolling here, yeah, you can see this name called Butter, right? I can zoom in for you guys to see better. See, there's a person called Butter who verifies, he's a verified purchase person. So he or she stays in the USA, has bought the product on 13th May 2020, and you can see that this person exists, right? Now, if you want to find more details about why we call it, why is the class a profile name, all you have to do is right click on the Amazon's website, click on inspect. Once you click on inspect, right? So as soon as you click on Butter, it will show you. Look at what it's saying. Here, right? So it's saying span class a profile name, right? So this is we have a span here. We're just putting out the name Butter, the name of the reviewer, and it says a profile name, right? So we're trying to pull this here, saying, hey, there's a class called a profile name. This will give you the name of the reviewer. See, it's really simple, right? All I did was right click, inspect, and I hovered my mouse on Butter and it gave me the class of it, the span class of it, right? Perfect. Now guys, now that we know how we can pull the data out of it, we got the title, we got the review, we got the review name and all of that. Now we're going to consider more cases where we can analyze the actual data, right? For the case of data analysis, we're going to require libraries NumPy and Pandas. NumPy is used for numerical computations and Pandas is used to make sure that we can store data in multiple ways, series, data frames. We can perform mathematical computation on all of these things, right? So storing data as arrays, single dimensional, multi-dimensional, data processing, numerical computation. All of these key terms that I just gave you, well, you can do all of these things with NumPy and Pandas. So let me go on to import all of these libraries, and now we're going to use a data set called data.csv. So in this data set, let me open the data set for you guys to see. Right. So in this data set, we have a lot of products out here. For example, we have a lot of reviews of the product. We have the content of what that person says. For example, here in many cases we are trying to check out the product where we're trying to look at women's running shoes. This shoes is called as Nike Women's Reacts Run 5 running shoes. There's the URL of the detail as well, like where it is present. We're taking a look at the details from a laptop and all of that, right? So this is a detail that is fetched by Beautiful Soup and put in a CSV format, right? So when you take a look at data like this, okay, let me quickly go back. So when you take a look at data like this, it becomes very vital that you use that the data that you just scrapped and perform analysis on it, right? That's the entire point of this particular session. So let me import this particular data set here. Perfect. Yes, so the data set is imported. I just have to click one button to import the data set in Google Collab. As you saw it, I hit the upload button and we are done, right? Perfect. So let me import the data set into our working runtime right now and print the first 5 rows. You already saw what the data looks like, right? So you have the actual review, the date of the review, what is the size of the shoe that the person bought, size 8, size 9, color and all of that. There's images of it, if it's a verified purchase or not, right? So even though you might have not purchased a product, you can go to Amazon and write a review. Usually some people do consider that not seriously as well, right? Because of course, if you haven't bought the product, how can I rely that you have actually given a genuine review, right? So that's one thing to consider. So we're going to take a look at all of these aspects. Of course, you have the actual product, the product link and all of that. The thing we are considered very much important here is the rating, right? We're trying to analyze the rating. Right. The next thing we have to do is pre-process the data. In any case, we obtained the data, we scrap the data is ready. Now we have to see if everything is right to perform data analysis, right? So we've used a method called .isNA.NE. Now with this particular method, we are trying to check for NaN values. NaN basically stands for not a number, right? Whenever it says false, it means that there are numbers present there. For example, a title can consist of numbers, right? Look at the title right here. I have highlighted a number for you. It says 1, right? So title can consist of numbers. The content, of course, they might say, hey, I bought 1 shoes, I bought size 10, which was incorrect. All of those, again, there are numbers there as well. Wherever it says true, it means that there is NaN values out there. So we're trying to find out, is it present? If it's present, the answer is going to be true. If it's not present, the answer is going to be false, right? Not a number. So if it's not a number and if it's false, well, what does it mean? It's a number. False, not. Right, simple. Now we're going to take a look at all the data, the length of the data that we have. So we have 20 rows of data. We have 20 reviews in total that we are trying to analyze. And if you have to take a look at the statistical description of the average rating, right? I told you we're going to take a look at the ratings and perform, some analysis on that. So we have 20 people, we have 20 reviews, and the average rating is 4.35 for the products that we are discussing. The minimum rating is 1 star. Of course, someone did not like the product. The maximum rating is 5. We already know that, right? So you rate a product based on 1 to 5, and some people like it, some people give 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it is. Apparently, this product is pretty much liked by almost all of the 20 people because the rating is somewhere around 4.3. And for your convenience, let me print out all the column names. We have the title of the review, the content of the review, the date of when it was posted, what is the variant that they bought, shoes, color, product, whatever it is, right? All of that. All the images that, you can also put an image with a review. So that is the part which discusses that as well. And next thing is, it says if you're a person who's a verified purchasee or not. If you've purchased the product for sure and you're writing a review, Amazon says verified purchase, right? Let me show you here. Let me remove this. See here, it says verified purchase, right? So this person has bought from this particular Amazon account that product for sure, right? Perfect. That's what verified talks about. You have the author, the name of the person. In our case, Butter was our reviewer, right? Then you have the actual rating that they put, the product for which the rating that they have put up, and the URL of the product, right? So all of these are the column names. Next, if you're taking a look at, okay, so I have, in this case, it's very convenient for us. We have 10 columns and 20 rows of data. So data.shape is giving us that we have 20 rows and 10 columns of data. But sometimes if you have thousands of reviews or hundreds of reviews, you cannot just look at it and say, this is how much I have. So just use data.shape, and in 1 second, it'll tell you these are the amount of rows that you have. These are the amount of columns that you have, right? Extremely convenient in my opinion. Perfect. The next thing we have to check out is we're going to be using pandas data frames to see if there is any null value. Sometimes it so happens that data is scraped incorrectly. There's an error in the CSV. Sometimes data can be present, the header can be present but the data is not present. Sometimes the name is present, the review is missing and all of that, right? Or it so happens practically that everyone who has reviewed the products will not have to compulsorily put an image, right? You can also write a text review and it is fine. You don't have to compulsorily put an image to say, hey, if you want to, of course you can, but there's no compulsion, right? So in this case, out of all the 20 reviews that we saw on our CSV, 11 of the people have not put up images. It means 9 people put images along with their reviews and 11 didn't. Is that a wrong thing? Absolutely not. But in our case, it is worth pointing out, saying, hey, these people, did not put up images. Perfect. Now, until all of these points, we have come to a stage where we have to analyze and give you the visual results. So we're going to be using two amazing data visualization libraries in Python. It's called Seaborn and Matplotlib. Matplotlib again is a very widely used data visualization library. Seaborn is used to add more functionality to Matplotlib as well. So all I'm going to do is import these libraries. And next, it so happens whenever you have scraped any sort of data or importing data into pandas, it is usually a string. Even though it might say 1, 2, 3, 4, pandas will consider that as a string and not a number, right? As soon as you read 1, 2, 3, 4, you can say, okay, so that's 1234. No. It is 1224 for you, but for pandas, it is a string. It is like saying, 10, TEN 10, right? It's a character. So to make sure you convert all of these to numbers before using it, you have again one simple line of code. And even in the case of ratings, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it is, it will not be considered as a number. So you have to manually say, hey, convert all of these things. Don't think of them as characters. Don't think of them as strings. I want them to be numbers, because using those numbers itself, we're going to plot, right? Numbers have meaning. Characters in the numerical sense does not have meaning. So all we did was convert that into numbers. And now, as I told you, right, we're going to plot a beautiful looking curve here. Let me zoom out a little. Perfect. So here we're trying to find the rating distribution. We're trying to see how people have rated the product, right? You can see with density means that there's a lot of people who are actually rating at that. We have a little bit of our population giving us somewhere between 1 and 2.5 stars. We have a lot more people who say, okay, I think this product is worth 3 stars. More people who says we have a product, they say that, hey, I think it's worth 4 stars. But as I told you, a majority of the people, right, I looked at the statistics and I told you this. Let me scroll up. I looked at this and I told you, hey, a lot of people like the product, and our analysis result is giving us the same as well, right? Look at this. A lot of people have put out a review between 4.5 and 5. It means the majority of the population. Let me zoom out a little more so you can see. Perfect, right? As you can see from the graph itself, look at the we have rating on the x-axis and density on the y-axis. So as tall as it goes, it means there's a lot of people who are looking towards that and who have voted at that particular rating as well, right? So here there's a lot of people who like the product, gave a rating of 4.5 to somewhere around 5. So now if you're taking a look at the data type that we used in pandas to go on to fetch, use, maintain and work with all of these, we used series, ladies and gentlemen. Pandas supports 2 data types. It is series and data frames. Data frames is mostly used for 2 or 3 dimensional data. Series works amazingly well with 1 dimensional data, and all the data that we have is 1D data, right? Perfect. Now if you want to plot another graph with amount and time to see what is the amount of reviews you got on particular dates, right? So this is a subplot which will show you this, right? On the x-axis we have amount, on the y-axis we have time. For example, you can see that there's a lot of reviews, a lot of 5-star reviews on this particular month, right? So in November, is it September, right? 9 2017. So in 9 2017 there's a lot of people who bought this product and rated it at that. The product is getting very, very popular. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of reviews coming in as and when time progresses. Maybe it's a new company, 1 or 2 years, everyone understood the company, they're buying more and more products, and some people will want to test tell other people how the product is, so they write a review, right? A simple subplot will give you a lot of details. A distribution curve is going to tell you where the average rating is as well. It's considered as a histogram, and this is basically a histogram, the rectangle that you see, and there's a frequency distribution curve that is given there as well. It's called as a dist plot in the case of Seaborn, and of course using Matplotlib as well. So ladies and gentlemen, this is the practical aspect of how you can go on to perform data analysis of Amazon reviews using Python, right? Now I'm sure you guys will have more questions saying, okay, all of this is nice, I understand this use case, all of this went really well, where can I learn more about data analytics? My first advice to all of you all is make sure you're not overwhelmed by the content that's present, right? Whenever you type into Google, learn data analysis or something, or what is data analysis, you will be given thousands if not millions of articles that will definitely get you confused. So take it slow, take it easy, have a structured way of learning, and then only begin working on things. Because if not, if you haphazardly start learning, there's a good chance that down the line you might lose interest. Things can get very complex. If your foundations are not strong, if you didn't take an ordered approach, a lot of problems can happen and you can stop learning itself. Our goal is to make sure that you don't get to that. So that's why whenever you tune into any of our be it courses, programs, or these YouTube videos, we make sure to keep it in a very structured way to give you guys a complete knowledge about all of these things, right? So that is a good learning experience that you guys should look for, no matter where you are learning from as well, guys. And an important thing that you should know at this point in time is that data analytics is very, very popular among college people as well. 72% of college graduates say that they want to study data analytics online. They want to do something in this particular domain because it's a fascinating thing, right? I just showed you one use case of how you can work with Amazon reviews. There's literally thousands of places. Everywhere you look at, you can find a way to perform any sort of data analysis on it, right? So if you're looking into it very, very seriously, of course, consider specializations. It will make sure that you can work on getting into your dream company, dream designation, of whatever it is. College students are picking up all these data analytics and data science concepts as their elective subject to make sure that as soon as they graduate, they have complete knowledge of the domain itself. And there is this gap that exists between college students and what is required by the industry, right? So in data analytics, usually there's so much interest by the people, by the students, and by all of you all, that this gap is actually being bridged. So to go on to do that, you have to definitely put in some time and effort to learn more. And of course, if you're looking at free content, we have here at Great Learning on data analytics, we have multiple courses you can check out on Great Learning Academy. You can sign up for free, enroll yourself into a course for free, not just one course, any number of courses that you want for free. You can complete it, learn completely, and at the end of the day, get a free course completion certificate as well, right? Certificate of completion. Very, very important thing. Again, all of these are free. Great Learning YouTube channel. Of course, you're watching this video on Great Learning YouTube channel, right? So you can, again, subscribe. Make sure you're hitting that bell icon. So as soon as we put a video, you're notified of it. For all the readers out there who are very much interested in reading, we have Great Learning blogs as well. So you can read fantastic blogs. All the content that you see is created by a lot of subject matter experts we have here at Great Learning. No matter what domain, no matter where you're learning from, wherever you're in the Great Learning architecture in the system, we have subject matter experts who have thorough knowledge about the domain. So using that, we can make sure that you guys have a fantastic learning experience, guys. And of course, as I just mentioned, if you're very serious about having a career in data analytics, I highly suggest you take a look at specializations and the post-graduation offerings we have here at Great Learning. All the free content will definitely get you started. It will give you good fundamentals and all of that. But if you have to become thorough, if you want to be handheld from going from being a beginner all the way to being a complete expert in the domain, you definitely should spend some time looking at specializations, guys. We have multiple PG programs, post-graduation programs, MTech programs, Master of Science programs in multiple different things: data science, business analytics, data science and engineering, machine learning, and a lot of other things as well, right? So all of this is done in collaboration with prestigious universities across the globe. As I told you, right, you have Northwestern University, Texas MECOMS, Great Lakes, PS University, and a lot more. So you will be taught by expert faculties from these particular universities as well. You will get 1:1 mentorship. You can find a lot more details about it, guys. For example, if you just click on advanced PG programs here, or just go to greatlearning.in, you can explore multiple programs that we have, right? If I click on data science and analytics out here, you can see we have multiple different programs. You can find out a lot more details about all of these. Our PG program in data science and business analytics is considered to be as the India's #1 course as well, again done in collaboration with the University of Texas at Arlington. You will find a lot of information, complete depth of what you're learning, all the use cases, all the people, the faculty that you're learning from, the mentors that you're going to have, the advantages. Guys, there's so many details you can find out. Make sure you head to the Great Learning website to find out the immense amount of advantages that you will have whenever you're taking a look at any sort of programs we have here at Great Learning, right? Guys, on that note, you've come to the end of the session. As always, you guys have been a beautiful audience. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope you have a nice day ahead, and of course, make sure you're staying safe from the ongoing pandemic. And guys, if you haven't subscribed to the Great Learning YouTube channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button. And if you learned a lot in this session, do take a second to hit that like button. It means a lot to us and helps us bring you better content down in the future, right? So alright guys, see you next time. Have fun, make sure you're learning, stay safe from the pandemic. Cheers.